Hey guys, what's going on? Nick Kellar.
Greg Brock.
I'm done announcing your name because you're an adult. We are with Atlas Premier Realty, and we're coming to you with another video blog. Today we wanted to touch on some things that we're seeing in the real estate market because it always comes up, whether we're at the gym or just in conversation with somebody, and they ask how things are going in the real estate market, and they're just utterly shocked to hear what's going on. So we thought we'd bring you a video as to what we're seeing, the top 6 things we're seeing people do, and then what that actually means. So we'll jump right into it. I think first and foremost, almost everything is going over list price. So if you're getting into the market, wrap your head around the fact that you're likely going to have to be super aggressive and go over top of list price.
And that leads you right into the next question is, if you're going over list price, what does that mean as far as the appraisal goes? It's likely not going to appraise for that huge number. So what people are doing is they are doing addendums to either waive the appraisal altogether if that's an option with the loan that they have, or they're agreeing to pay the appraisal delta. In other words, the amount of money that they offered and the amount of appraisal, whatever amount of money that is in between, they're willing to come up with cash to do so. And sometimes it's a big number.
It could be a lot of money considering that you have down payment, closing costs, and now you're willing to pay the difference in and under appraisal. So definitely seeing that a lot more than we have ever in the previous 5, 10, 15 years. The third one is pay the seller's transfer taxes. So everybody knows what getting closing help from a seller is. This is almost the reverse of that. So you're willing to pay, there's transfer taxes that you split with the seller. You're willing to pay their half of it, thus saving them money at closing, which is a very strategic way to go about it because it increases the net that they receive without affecting the sale price and the appraisal. So
right.
You're in effect doing the same thing without having to toe the line of that appraisal.
The next one that we do or have been seeing is as is, sometimes as is with inspections and the right to terminate, or in some extreme cases, as is with no inspections whatsoever, i.e. taking the property without even putting a professional through it to see what its condition is.
Yeah, super risky, calculated risk. I think that if you are comfortable with some of the upgrades and improvements that a seller does, and they can provide some documentation around it, maybe even warranties around it, and you see how they keep their house, it is a calculated risk. But not something that we're accustomed to seeing. The fifth one is free rent back. So when a seller has to sell and they can't move right away, buyers are often letting them stay after settlement without charging, whereas normally they would charge what's called a rent back, essentially leasing it to them for the time that they need. Now they're just letting them stay there for free. So essentially keeping that money in the seller's pockets.
Right. And the last one is they're actually starting to see the buyer's agent offering to pay their own agent's commission. Now, real quick, essentially, at least in our market, most sellers are paying one flat fee for their commission, and the seller's agent is going to pay the buyer's agent. And to, again, save more money, but more money out of pocket for the buyer, some buyers are willing to pay their buyer agent commission and waive it for the seller side and save them that additional 2.5, 3, whatever that number is. It can be any number, but they are saving the seller that buyer agent commission.
Again, not affecting the appraisal value, which is always something that people are uncomfortable with in these types of situations. What does this mean? So I think it's important to realize that there really is no right or wrong with these things. They sound scary and they are certainly unprecedented. Or it gets bounced around a lot recently, but it is something that we're just not accustomed to seeing, even going back to the years of 2005 before the bubble. I think it really is just based on the tolerance of your risk and how much you love a house, or maybe even how dire your moving situation is, to how aggressive you're willing to go. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. It's just peace of mind and how comfortable a buyer is with doing some of these things. And then I think lastly with that, I think there's especially when you're talking about sales price and coming out possibly over top the appraised value if it under appraises, is I think it actually really depends on how long you're going to be in the house. If you're planning on being in your house for 3 to 5 years, you're probably not recouping that money. But if you're going to be in that house for a good bit of a decade or longer, I mean, if that's your house for you, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. So obviously these things are case by case. If you have any questions on how this might affect you or anybody getting in the market, please reach out to us. there's anything else we can do for you, please reach out to us. And we appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.